Alright, what's up guys? Today we are headed over to Eli's and we're gonna get a little rundown of his Camaro build. He wants us to help him stick in his 9-inch rear end in the back of the car. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get a little rundown of his car, what his plans are and all that. Yeah, check his car out.
Yeah, go from there. Should be it's a sick car. We will get some shots of that on our way right now.
Alright, what's up guys? We just got to Eli's. We'll let him break down his car and whatnot, but here's the beauty right here.
She is.
The whole view. Bailey doesn't know anything about it, but Spoolie Boy is right here.
Look at this thing. Eli is a painter during the day, car builder at night. His boss, Pinstripe, this sick emblem that he had him put on, Highway Star. I don't know if you guys can see that, but amazing detail. What you see. This is my 76 Camaro. I've had it on the road before, but nothing like this. The last version of it was a big block, 4-speed with ratty blue paint and rust. Since then, I've taken it all apart down to the shell and painted it. Powder coated the subframe, painted the hole underneath of the car, fixed the rust, put a roll cage in. Pretty much redid the entire car from scratch again. I guess I'll start from the front. Just got this nice 6-inch on-3 performance intercooler, and that's to go along with the VS Racing. This is their newer release, 85-102 billet turbo. I kind of made the little turbo kit myself, if you will. Some of my TIG welding buddies helped me out with welding it together. Yeah, that's definitely From there, that's going to be spun off this fully forged aluminum L33 block, 5.3. It's got K1 crank, Lunati H-beam rods, diamond pistons. Should be about 10.3 to 1 compression. It's got a BTR, comp cams, Stage 2 boost cam kit in it. Obviously got a nice little Ollie high ram to top it off. We don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see. Just dual wastegates, twin scroll turbo. Pretty much just using what I can find as far as ignition goes. Running it off a Holley Terminator. Behind that is a Rossler Turbo 400. It's their Stage 3 Terminator, or whatever they call that. It's got a PTC 9.5 16-0 converter. Out back we got a Quick Performance fully braced 9-inch. It's got 325 gears, 35 spline axles. Under that we got pretty much Caltrac split monos with some Funkhauser race cars. Brackets. Not on there right now. There's going to be an anti-roll bar from him and shock relocation. We got inboard shocks on there, Viking double adjustable Warriors. I just finished up putting the fuel cell in. I had a stock tank in there, but things snowballed, as you can see, with the whole entire car. This is a purple paint. It's not really a factory color. It's a BASF custom mix, and I did paint it myself. My boss is pretty handy with custom painting, and we've got Highway Star, a song by Deep Purple. The color of the car is obviously a deep purple. This roll cage is a S&W. Started off as an 8-point, and I figured the way the car went, it's going to be hopefully faster than 999 at the track, so I added the front bars and hoop later on, but my buddies and I all kind of did that at home. The whole thing's pretty much built out of the garage. My intentions were to make a streetable 9-second car, and here's what that looks like in my opinion. Pretty much just gonna be like a Friday cruiser, drive it around. Probably more of a garage queen, but it'll get some action on the street for sure. Lots of burnouts and maybe some wheelies. But eventually, I think I didn't really know what to do other than that. I mean, you can only drive on the street and take it to the track so many times. And I think a new goal of mine is going to be take it to Drag Week in 2024, hopefully. So hopefully we'll have some footage of that. But no, they might stop there. They pick different tracks each year. It's like, I don't know if it's like 1,500 miles or a couple thousand miles. You drive track to track. You're allowed one driver or whatever you can fit in the car, and you compete against other people who've entered, and in different classes obviously. I mean, the fastest times, they run like 6-second passes at 200 plus miles an hour, and they drive from track to track. But something like this could be entered in the street competition class, and I think that'd be a good thing to do with this pile of money other than let it sit in your garage. I mean, I didn't build it for that. I built it to drive it and have fun. I don't know, it's going to be ran on Pumpy 85, pushing for like 20-25 pounds of boost. The MagnaFuel 750 fuel pump is going to be the limiting factor, and that's going to have, I mean, from what I've read, I have no real world experience, but those things usually tap out on 12 volts at about 900 to 1,000 to the wheels, so that'd be a pretty kick-ass starting point going from a 400 horsepower 454. Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been up to for the past few years. A lot of stuff happened in life. I wanted to have it sooner, but you know, ambition and motivation is basically what you're battling here. So it's come a long ways, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. The front end, once the front end's on, I mean, we got a Sunoco style hood scoop with a little curve, you know, like all the cool guys have. But
so it's gonna be pristine when it's all put together.
Yeah, I mean,
hood on and everything.
What else does the world need to know?
Probably that some people don't realize how fast it's gonna be when you got screws in the wheels.
Right. My frickin' ghetto bead locks, some rim screws in the slicks. Hopefully the police officers don't say much about the small tire slicks and a 4-inch exhaust dumped out.
Yeah, they won't even see it.
Hopefully they don't notice the 2-10s coming out of the sump on the back. I know I've heard of people getting pulled over for exposed AN lines on their cars. And slicks obviously are not DOT approved. Sheboygan County Police Department, if you're watching this, we're in Mexico right now. I kind of would like to have the car to where I can cruise it around town, and I mean, it's going to be on progressive boost control and all this stuff through Holly, so I'd like to eventually get it set up after tuning and test hits to where, like, on the streets around here, on your rugged, beat up Wisconsin roads, I mean, I'd like the car eventually to just be able to hit the button on the trans brake, let off, and go to work every time with the same results. Consistency is always faster than big power, and there's a lot of cars out there with a little more power, but I think I'm confident after I get my feet wet with the whole tuning that I'll have this thing dialed into the best of its ability. We got most of the suspension work in the rear, and that's where the magic happens. We pretty much got GM front suspension with some aftermarket coil springs and some cheap competition engineering shocks. At 21 years old, I'm pretty proud to say.
This is what kids dream of, right?
Right. I'm pretty proud to say that this is something I've done, and we're getting real close to the first startup. I'm sure we'll have a video on that. I'm a little nervous, you know. I mean, anytime anyone watching has done things where you take apart like big mechanical aspects of any machine, first time you go to start it up and drive it again is always nerve-wracking. I mean, and now you have a complete rebuild of a car that I have no experience with the Turbo LS world, really, other than Facebook forums. But no, I mean, this setup's been proven time and time again. To the average person, this looks like a lot of shit going on, but there's a lot of cars around the country, at least, that have similar, if not exact, combos going on. So I'm pretty confident it'll be foolproof as long as I kept a good enough, or did a good enough job keeping debris and metal shavings out of the engine. It was freshly assembled. There's 0 miles on this, 0 runtime, and it's just been waiting to fire off. So we'll definitely do like a lot of test hit videos and share our experiences. But I mean,
I can't wait to see this thing's gonna run too. This thing's gonna be quick.
I'm hoping. My initial goal was just to break 9s with the car eventually, but with all the stuff that this snowballed into, I mean, I think a longer term goal might need a few upgrades, maybe some more fuel to it, but I think this setup's capable of going 8s for sure someday. But
Oh yeah.
I need a lot of driving experience, tuning experience. I guess we'll just have to be patient, see what happens. But we got a lot of props from it, and it's not even done, so once we get it done, it should be something to see.
Well,
It's got the baddest car in the group, I can tell you. And I ain't no Chevy guy.
I
ain't no Chevy guy either. This looks badass.
We need to get some footage going. This is probably gonna be our first car review, really, that we've done. But we got a lot of unfinished projects in our group.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Maybe the channel will be motivation for us to finally finish things. Initially, I bought this car from a guy that parts out second-gen Camaros, and it was $400. It had no wheels. It pretty much looked like this. There was no doors, no spoiler. It was just, we had to drag it onto the car trailer to get it home. And I went back to the guy's place, and I tried to get all the panels I could afford at the time. He had the whole car there, but I couldn't afford to buy, like the front header panel was spray painted eventually, and like one of the doors was spray painted, because it's like, at the time, I didn't have the extra $200 to buy the right door for the car. Whatever, I pieced it together with spare parts that my dad had laying around our garage at home, and it was a 350 with a sagging off 4-speed, and then that wasn't enough, so I got the big block going on, and I thought it was hot shit then, until our friend Alex, we raced out on a back road, and
In Mexico.
in Mexico. His pretty much stock 370Z caught up to me at the end of our quarter-mile run. I was way out in front of him till about 90 miles an hour, and he came around me, and I was like, we're not ever having that happen again. So then this happened. I mean, I went from a ratty-ass rat motor big block to...
I think weight had a lot of factor to play in that though. 370Z compared to the 76 with a big block.
Yeah.
Now you shimmed some off now because you got aluminum block, right?
Yeah, I mean, this car should be a lot lighter. Well, give or take. I mean, you pick
Yeah,
up...
probably
There's more components to it than there was, but I don't know how this car will handle. I mean, anyone watching with experience, feel free to comment, but I mean, it's basically street car stuff. I mean, I'd like to see this kind of set up in like a real race chassis, because it's going to be a lot more safer and obviously distribute the power better. I mean, if you think about it, you're putting 1,000 horsepower into factory commuter car engineering when this car came with like 100 horsepower from the factory, from its smogged out 305 that probably came in here.
Look how far it's came.
Right? I don't know if, like, sometimes I like to think, like, what the original owner that bought this new would think if he saw it today. He probably thought, like, this was a bad, like, oh man, I'm styling and profiling, I got a brand new Camaro. And, you know, sorry to say, buddy, but that thing ain't shit. I was brought up around a lot of old school guys, and they're strictly big block, small block, old school stuff, and that's kind of why I did what I did. I mean, this is a completely different world than that, and the power you can make with a setup like this isn't comparable to that. I don't know, that's why it's exciting to me. There's not much to say, it is what it is, we went over it. We're all just excited to hear it run for the first time, which is coming very soon. I mean, everything, what you don't see here is either in the garage, in my living room, or in my attic. So everything's here, just a matter of time. And it's the middle of winter, so next month or so we should get a startup video coming out.
It's gonna be badass.
A lot of people, like a lot of my close friends have been watching, and Mitchell and Logan and Owen have all had their hands on helping me where things are out of my limitations, like the welding and the tube bending. So it's kind of been slightly a group effort and support going on all around, but
Mainly Eli though.
Yeah, mainly the guy in front of you.
It's pretty much a couple of years of like eating ramen noodles and staying in the garage. But I don't know. That's pretty much what's going on. I mean,
But hey, you gotta admit, this dude in high school was always asking for rides, pinching pennies anywhere he could, and while me and Owen are out just going out, spending all the money we had, while this guy's working at Culver's till 11 o'clock at night.
I gotta get, so there's where my friends come into play, you know, I had to leech off them a little bit to get here. but
This is all us.
it's a
Not Eli.
That makes it a group effort, you know?
Yeah, we can say we're a little smarter now than we were back then.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, if Viking Performance Shocks is watching this, my shocks are too short, so my $600 pair of shocks, they are pretty much unused, just out of the box and bolted up. If you guys want to exchange them for
A sponsorship.
so, no, that's where we're at.
Shout out Screaming Conuts. She'll like that shout out.
Two Rivers, Wisconsin. If you ever get around, there's Screaming Conuts Ice Cream Shop, and right down the road is High Lift Coffee Shop. They're definitely clearly sponsors to this build. Oh yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Merch on and everything.
Well, what we were saying though is, car's pretty much wired up other than the boost controller and the trans brake, which isn't needed to run. We'll be running it off the 4-pound wastegate spring for now. But I do need to just do the oil feed line for the turbo. I would like to put the transmission temperature gauge in because I don't need to melt down my Rossler tranny and PTC converter. And then I did, like I said, cut the trunk out and do the fuel cell swap. So I do need to re-splice a couple wires in the back to the battery. And then reroute the fuel lines and dump some pump E85 from good old Midwest Quick Trip in there. I mean, that's the secret recipe and sauce to make 1,000 horsepower.
Only Quick Trip.
Right.
Can't use BP,
We
can't
also
use
use
mobile.
a Quick Trip sponsorship
I was
for the
just
amount
about
of
to
chicken
say.
sandwiches Mitchell.
I was about to say that. That is like our number one go-to spot to eat, get gas, anything you need is Quick Trip.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what color to paint my car. It was a darker blue. It was originally an ugly lime green, and I was torn between the two, and I was trying to think of a color, and it was really in a crunch for a couple days. And at work, I work with a couple old dudes, and we always got classic rock on, and then Highway Star, which is a song I was familiar with before it came on, and I did like the song, and then all of a sudden, I'm thinking colors. The band's name Deep Purple, Highway Star comes on, talking about having the fastest car around, big fat tires and everything. I mean, it all just kind of went, and I was like, yep, purple it is. So that's why we got the purple. A lot of people
Came out amazing though too.
This is my first complete paint job on a car. Like I said, it is BASF products for anyone interested. This is their Glamour Clear. I have painted a lot of stuff since then, and none of which have actually laid out this flat. This has had the buffer ran over it once. My boss, who's been painting for 25 plus years, said, you know, you could paint your whole life and you'd be lucky to get a paint job to turn out that good. And I was probably a few months in painting experience, rushed on a Saturday morning. I mean, I do work at a body shop, so we had a car all prepped in the booth and stuff. I worked like 48 hours out of a weekend sanding it out by myself all through the night to get it ready to paint, and I was pretty much revved up beyond control to paint this thing, and somehow it turned out damn near flawless. So I do have one scratch, and I'm pretty sure it's from me to blame, but I'm also suspicious of our friend Logan who welded these cages in here, these down bars here, which were also bent by Owen's work, and I came in there and had the top hoop adjusted to fit this. I don't know, hopefully it passes Wisconsin drag strip tech, because frickin' 20-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, oh 19, how old was I when I started? I was probably like 19 when I started this. 19-year-old kid hacked in a frickin' roll cage kit, but it turned out pretty good. Can't really see the welds under the paint, but Logan did do a nice job on the TIG.